He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always talk about education, my friends, but when I do, I prefer the Dr. Duke Show. Stay educated, my friends. Activist group Sandy Hook Promise releases a gruesome back-to-school video to highlight campus vulnerabilities. No word yet if Parkland police are too frightened to watch. I'm Dr. Duke, she's Katie, and this is the Dr. Duke Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Duke Show, the only program that keeps you educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. Today, we're talking about the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, a college of 30,000 students that recently held a white privilege workshop, but nobody came. Plus, a Christian conservative professor goes all in, unveiling a new course that takes aim at liberal bias in the classroom. But we start in Newton, Connecticut, where an activist group that calls itself Sandy Hook Promise just released a chilling back-to-school PSA video about gun violence in schools. And we got to warn you, we're going to show you some video here. We want you to see this video. It's pretty graphic. It's graphic. It's disturbing. It is over the top. And the question is, what are they trying to do here? Are they really trying? Because there's nothing in this video that's really going to prepare a kid in the event of a serious attack. This is just liberal yelling and screaming about what might happen. Here's the video.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class. These colored pencils, too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
And I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
When I first watched this video, I had many different emotions walking through it, because from a student's perspective, some of these kids, not the ones in the video, but there are children who have been through that experience. Sure. But for the majority of our students, this is just going to terrify them, and it's unnecessary. Why are we putting that burden onto our children because we're using them as puppets to try and push a political narrative?
Well, it's based on sarcasm. This is not helpful. You're just being sarcastic because we have gun rights in this country, right? What you're basically saying is that the government can't be trusted to take away your guns, so we're going to make a very sarcastic video to either scare you or to vent our own political frustrations. What does that actually teach a kid who finds himself in a hot shooter situation? And the answer is nothing. Try being maybe that's what they're teaching it. Somebody comes into your school, some punk comes into your school with a gun, make sarcastic remarks as you're running away. Maybe that's what it teaches you, right?
When they showed the student who was, just kind of, like you said, it's sarcastic, we're running from the killer, and he says, these new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year. You can, if you're going to make a point, make the point in a serious tone, because this is a serious matter.
What's the point? Explain to me what the point is that other than, I'm glad I got new shoes because no one's going to protect me and I have to be able to run away from killers. That's the point?
They are an organization, an activist organization that actually wants gun control, so if they're going to present something, they should not be putting sarcasm into it. It's hurting their own point, is what I'm arguing.
Well, you're exactly right. I wasn't contradicting your point. I was contradicting the video, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no point to be made there. What is the point you're making about gun safety? You're not making one. What is the point about the sarcastic comment of the kid running away saying, glad I got new tennis shoes. Apparently I can run faster now. Good. I can get away faster. But how does that help anybody who finds himself in this situation? And regardless, you can't even call these a PSA. These aren't public service announcements. They're they're getting into the schools. I guarantee you they're being taken seriously because they label themselves PSAs, but they're not public services for anything other than the very specific politics of the people who made them.
And it makes me wonder, I want to know who is actually watching this. Are these videos being shown in schools, or is it just, I know it's out on their website and you can find it on YouTube and it'll go viral, but at the same time, who's actually watching this video, and is there a discussion being had? I don't know, so it's kind of hard to.
The article says the PSA is part of the organization's Know the Signs campaign. All right, know the signs that somebody may shoot up your school, and so we've clicked to a video where there's somebody with a gun and somebody running away in tennis shoes. What sign exactly are you supposed to know? What? And so many of them. Or you show pictures of students on the ground having their wounds bandaged in a makeshift way. What does that have to do with identifying anybody?
I don't know.
The PSA said the organization, part of the Know the Signs campaign, which features an extensive list of warning signs to watch out for that might indicate a person is planning to carry out a mass suicide shooting kind of thing. Sandy Hook Promise was founded in the wake of the deadly 2012 mass killings at Newton Elementary School. A killer took the lives of 20 children. And so, again, we go back to the point here. This is not a PSA. You are not actually providing in the video anything meaningful. You're just being snarky.
Well, and what they're doing too, this organization, which you can again look at their website, Sandy Hook Promise. They on the website on the homepage say that almost 4.5 million people have taken the Sandy Hook Promise, and that promise is: I promise to do all I can to protect children from gun violence by encouraging and supporting solutions that create safer, healthier homes, schools, and communities.
It's like creating a pro-abortion video in which all you talk about is a woman coming out of the clinic after the procedure saying, boy, I'm really glad I got these comfortable shoes so I can walk back to my car without any pain. I mean, it's almost like surreal the way they've divorced what they're seriously trying to accomplish from the stupidity of these videos.
Before we move on, just a quick reminder that the Dr. Duke Show was created to help educate moms and dads around the globe. Our content and monetization is always at the mercy of social media companies and their red flags. Many of you have asked, how can I help? The answer is join the Patriot Club. It's a $25 monthly tax-deductible donation, and we'll send you a new gift every 3 months. Visit drdukeshow.com to sign up. You know, the best way to fight back against the indoctrination happening in today's schools is to educate people, and we've been blessed to reach more than 45 million people in the last 2 years. With the help of your Patriot Club membership, we can certainly reach millions more. Again, visit drdukeshow.com to join the club. Let's talk about more stupidity, because we're going to go on to the campus of the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, who recently hosted a workshop series. It was earlier this month called White Consciousness Conversation, and it was focused on teaching students about white privilege, obviously, and related topics. Campus has 30,000 people. How many people? Okay, 30,000. You want people to come to this? Maybe thinking 100, 200 people show up to this talk. They had nine people show up, and 2 of them were journalists.
So 7.
Who were there to observe. Another 5 of them were members of the Young Americans for Freedom chapter, and they were there out of curiosity.
So 2.
So, and then the other 2 were there, obviously, for extra credit in a class.
So the only 2 that came that weren't conservative or journalists were 2 who were promised extra credit by the professors if you go.
Bingo.
Outstanding. So basically nobody came.
0 people essentially came. And so, again, 30,000 people, 9 of them, and we shouldn't even count all 9 of them. So that means 0.02% of your population showed up. And the thing is, on the description, when you go to the description for this event, it says students, like for students only. Like they're adamant, like this is going to be a great opportunity for our students.
Maybe these idiots who can't read, these college kids, maybe they thought it was for, F-O-U-R, for students only. I can't think of anything else.
And they doubled it. They're brilliant.
To me, the takeaway of this is that the vast majority of our college kids aren't interested in this social engineering crap. It doesn't. The only ones that go are the ones that go at gunpoint, or the ones that are failing their classes. And I've taught at universities where kids were ordered to, including the one I'm at now, ordered to attend this garbage. You give your example.
Well, in our education classes, you were given options of like maybe 3 or 4 different. Essentially these, race, class, gender, BS.
Black brainwashing.
Seminars. And you had to go to, first you had to do, there was one for diversity hours and inclusivity hours, and then there was something else. But so you had to spend so many hours, and so you had, you know, a list again, 3 or 4 of them to choose from, and if they were 2 hours, that's 2 of your 10 hours to go to. I was able to finagle my way out of that and get something written down, but whatever. But these students are all the future educators, supposedly, they're all there listening to this, taking notes, and then they had to write a reflection paper about it and what they learned.
Yeah, in other words, you're using the compulsion of grades and your future to drive kids to radical leftist seminars on garbage. And what this shows you again is it is overwhelmingly true that most kids are there to study math or be accountants or go to parties or drink. They go to the football games. They're there to get their gen ed out of the way so they can get their major and graduate and have a career. This social engineering, if you don't force them, if you don't find a way to corral and force them, they don't care. And it also shows just what a small number of campus agitators are completely transforming our kids' educational experiences. If even 1/10 of those who don't come were to stand up and say enough of this, it would get stopped. It would have to get stopped. Yeah. Very depressing. YAF member, Young Americans for Freedom, one of the 5 conservatives showed up. Kelly Von Endy said, I went to the event with an open mind. I understand that racism is the discrimination against someone based on their race. She said, this is where she's a conservative. I believe that a person of any race can be discriminatory towards a person of any other race. However, she was told that the definition is better described as racial discrimination and that racism can only flow from whiteness. So on one same hand, they keep telling us that whiteness is nothing. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing. On the other hand, the same liberal idiots are telling us that whiteness is responsible for everything.
So yeah, I'm glad that of these 9 who showed up, 5 of them had for sure functioning brains, and Kelly was one of them saying, you know what, I'm going to be curious, I'm going to come with an open mind, I'm going to try. And then they proved my own point in the argument that by them saying that, you know, whiteness and its inherent power, that I'm truly the victim here, being the white person in the room, unlike what they're saying.
Tuesday hot take. If we ever got to the point where we actually went after racism, whoever said it, if racism was seen to be what it is, an individual choice by an individual, the number of minorities that would immediately start to be investigated would be so large, it would embarrass the universities.
That's a good hot take. Anyway, let's move on to a different North Carolina campus. This time we're going to be at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, where they are going to have a new class called Issues in Criminal Justice. Now, as a title, makes me wonder what's going to be in this class. You would think at a university it's going to be the same old liberal. May I simply
point out that issues in criminal justice is a fancy way of saying criminal justice? Because what do you study in criminal?
You need more words.
When you go to a criminal justice course, what do you expect to study?
Some issues, maybe.
But anyway, go ahead.
All right. This class, though, is the brainchild of the outspoken Christian conservative criminology professor Mike Adams. And he's calling the class a reasoned response to systematic academic malpractice. Ooh. And he's promising that students will finally get a chance to hear how those on the right would answer questions such as, you know, what does the evidence say about the claims of the Black Lives Matter movement? Because you can't speak ill of that movement at all. Then you're racist. He also, what about the question of, is the criminal justice system really systematically racist? That sounds like, I don't know, the exact question one of the exact questions you should be talking about when you have issues in criminal justice. So he's going to address that with his students.
I think it's wonderful. Mike Adams is fantastic. If you know anything about Mike Adams, look him up. He has been a crusader for freedom of speech on campuses. He's been radically persecuted by his own university, had to sue them and won.
He's your hero. He's your
I love the guy. I would call this, instead of issues in criminal justice, I would call this rethinking lies. Right? Rethinking lies in criminal justice. You can call it something like that, because that's what he's doing. He's going back and he's pointing out all the lies in these various organizations, all the left-wing lies that kids get about black people being shot by cops and the Black Lives Matter movement that spawned from it, and all of the social justice stuff. He's taking it on face. I taught, a couple years ago, I taught a freshman seminar on the 10 Biggest Lies of Liberalism was basically the course. And we read a number of books and we exposed various. So we talked about how on college campuses, the biggest offenders against freedom and rights of students were actually universities. These kids loved it. And no one had ever talked to them that way. These were incoming freshmen. By the time they were juniors and seniors, I had a bunch of them in my classes and they kept coming back to me saying, oh, I was in that class 4 years ago when you told me what universities were. And Mike Adams has made a career of doing stuff like this. Good for him.
And reading part of his syllabus, it's reminiscent of something I've read in your syllabi before. He wrote, please note that whereas political leftists author virtually all of the readings in your other courses, conservatives and libertarians author most of the readings in this course. This is done so that you will be exposed to beliefs that contradict those of the vast majority of your professors. Often, these dissenting views are presented only as caricatures. In this class, you will hear from the proponents of such views directly. He is honest with them, upfront with them, not like these professors and all the other syllabi saying, we're going to address everyone's viewpoints and have an equal footing for everyone. So he also says in the syllabus, rather than seeing you as the mere product of random mutation, I see you as a unique individual endowed by his creator, not just with a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but also with a purpose. Each one of you has unique and special talents, and along with that, a distinct purpose in life that makes you not just unique, but irreplaceable.
You know, this sounds like my contract, which predates this for a couple of years, right?
Oh, I see what you did
Yeah,
there.
see what I did?
Okay.
Got to get my own bona fides in here, right?
Apparently.
But maybe more people are beginning to do what we're all trying to do, is if you are going to offer them anything that challenges their little safe progressive worldview, you better make sure you get it down on paper. I love this. No safe spaces. If this causes you to encounter viewpoints that bother you or make you feel uncomfortable, that is good. It's a point we make all the time. There will be no safe space from which you can retreat. Instead, you will be required to take off your intellectual training wheels. I like that phrase. Something that should have happened for the first time you entered grade school, right?
Ooh, grade school,
and
all the way down.
Look at the required reading. Things like Heather McDonald's The War on Cops, how the attack on law and order makes everyone less safe. But I love this. Abortion. And unlike a progressive professor that would make you watch an abortion movie, he says it's optional viewing of Unplanned, right? So even here, he's better than the progressive left, because where they would force you to go see their stupid little propaganda movies, he says, we're going to watch Unplanned, and you can opt out if you want.
Yeah, and when they're going to talk about crime, he said the major progressive theories of crime will tackle why these theories have been such a failure and why academics won't admit it. And they will be required to watch Boys in the Hood as part of the discussion. So it'll be a good way to bring in the pop culture and understanding viewing-wise for these students. And then I believe him actually when he says we are going to discuss, not I'm going to stand up here and pontificate and you will be made to write a paper believing with what I believe.
And the final point of the story is Adams himself said, and I'm quoting him now, I'm worried if I don't cause controversy on college campuses. I'm extremely worried about that. A lack of controversy on college campuses is a sign of sickness and intellectual atrophy. He's right. The only way you can possibly expose kids to a genuine education on a progressive campus is to expose them to non-progressive ideas. If all they ever hear is the same progressive idea, you're just going along with the status quo, you're indoctrinating them. To be a actually effective professor, you have to challenge their liberal assumptions. It's the only way to be a rebel, and Mike Adams has been for a long time.
And that's the finishing touch on this Tuesday episode. As always, please share this episode and subscribe to the free audio podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and everywhere else. Visit drdukeshow.com, then click on any of the platforms on the top of the screen and subscribe. And don't forget to type out that precious 5-star review on iTunes.
And that's it. As we mentioned earlier, we love doing this show every day, and your financial support keeps the lights on, the cameras rolling, and Katie in jars of pickles. We live in a great time where you can financially support any project you're passionate about. Please consider joining the Patriot Club just to support this show. $25 a month, and you get tchotchkes galore. Just visit drdukeshow.com, and we'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. For Freedom Project, I'm Dr. Duke. She's Katie, and until then, you stay educated, my friends.